I wanted to ask you, like, if I'm not mistaken, did you do like research about One Direction fandom before this?
Yeah, when I was doing my master's, my thesis and all my research work was focused on the One Direction fandom. So, at that time, between 2010 to 2015, they were
Yeah.
obviously like the really dominant boy group in the world and dominant fandom. And so it was kind of fun to see and kind of fun to explore how like a community or subculture like that was able to take social media to like another level. But I definitely could not have imagined what ARMY is doing now when I was doing my master's, because I remember telling people like this is such a cool phenomenon with like directioners, and once One Direction goes on hiatus, I don't know what's going to happen to
Yeah.
fandom. I don't think that there's going to be like another group to come and have the same impact, and then here's ARMY
Yeah.
a whole nother level that I couldn't even have imagined. So it's pretty incredible, and I'm super grateful and happy that I was able to do that research back then, because to be able to have that perspective of what was going on with that fandom a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and then to watch the evolution of social media and fandoms in these last couple of years, and then kind of compare the two, it's like it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I was amazed by directioners back then, and I'm even more amazed of ARMY now. So yeah, just fandoms have always fascinated me. So I'm super lucky to have had this opportunity to study ARMY in this way, and I'll definitely be doing it for the next couple of years. So it'll be a lot of fun.
It's really interesting, like, to think like what was like the Beatlemania back then, or the Backstreet Boys, like how those people would have behaved now and use social media where back then it was non-existent.
I mean, social media aside, it's like fun to see that evolution of like boy bands as well. Like it's definitely brought fan culture like and grown it to next level. But yeah, I mean, like I said, now with social media and like plus ARMY, it's kind of like perfect storm for this like huge impact and power. So
Yeah.
it's been cool to see. Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, your research under what field of study is it?
So I'm a sociology major, but definitely looking at like so many different parts of it. So not just it like sociology in the most traditional sense, but you know, certainly observing and that sort of stuff, and interviewing and surveying, but like looking deep in the data type of research to help tell stories about people and the way they interact and behave. So like I've always loved data and analytics and visualization type of data, and that's what I did when I studied the One Direction fandom. And I think more people should definitely use that and I think they are starting to use it. But in terms of fandom, there's like so many things we can learn about it. So it's one aspect that I'm definitely inserting as part of my studies for sure. And as you've seen, it's been really fun, like showing people the kinds of information we could get about a fandom just by using things like that. So
Yeah, it's definitely very like the vis, visualization of it
yeah.
is really, it really brings everything forward. Like it's
Mhm.
there, it makes everything so clear, and you see like the impact, and you see it spreading, and
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely. I mean, I tell people all the time, like we hear a lot about like different numbers and figures and stats, but when we see something with our own eyes, like it just makes it even more impactful to us. And
Yeah.
so that's why I love doing it. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
When you tracked One Direction, were you looking at something specific?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. So it feels, it's like weird because it feels like I'm talking about ARMY, but essentially I was it was focused on how they dominated and influenced worldwide trends. So it like feels like I'm talking about ARMY, but at the time, like that was
yeah,
such a big thing with One Direction too. So we see a lot of like similarities, but there are differences. But yeah, so it was for a couple of weeks, every single day, just like I similarly do now. I was up all the time tracking all the worldwide trends they created, and whenever they created it, I ran network analysis on them to kind of see their interactions with each other, and to see like their different types of like clusters within the fandom, and how they how they pushed information through to each other. And so, which is similar to like what I do now too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at the time, we weren't really looking at things like that as far as research. And you know, with One Direction, I think what's super interesting is they didn't create as many worldwide trends. Like ARMY, it's so normal now. Like, and when we talk about it, like, oh
You're
yeah,
just talking, you create like.
yeah, right, exactly. It's like, oh, okay, like, here's another trend. Like, it doesn't really surprise anybody. But I think with One Direction fans at the time, I think as far as I remember, it was about like maybe a 2-week period, and they created maybe like 30 trends, something like that, which like at the time seemed a lot. And I think when I started tracking trends for ARMY, that's probably what like really shocked me is like 150 a month. Like that was crazy to me, only because when I was doing One Direction work, I thought 30 was a lot for 2 weeks, but it's nothing now. But yeah, so I was looking in the way they created these trends, and looking into the different patterns that were found within the fandom in the way that they shared this information. So kind of similar to the way I do now, but it's definitely on a much larger scale with ARMY. So it's cool to kind of look at what I did before and kind of compare it to what's going on right now with the fandom. So
yeah, it's cool that you get to like build on it and like take the same thing and see how it differs between the two fandoms.
exactly.
I don't get to do that. My research for my PhD was like a direct continuation of my master.
Okay.
So it's like it's the same thing for 6 years. Yeah.